Hi, it's Mary Ellen. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, and I'm not sure that I ever did this kind of video before, but I'm having trouble choosing my planners for 2024. And when I have trouble, what I do is like a brainstorming session to try to figure out what's currently working, what do I need to change, and then decide on the types of planners I need and then pick the actual planners. So I thought this kind of video might be helpful if you're having trouble choosing your planners as well. I know it's kind of late in the season, but I am one to procrastinate this because I get really overwhelmed. I get excited, but I get super overwhelmed when I try to figure out which planners I'm using for the new year. So I thought I'd take you along as I try to figure it out and maybe give you some advice along the way of what to do yourself. Typically, when I'm choosing my planners for the new year, I ask myself a bunch of questions. I don't really write the questions down. I don't really have this formal list of questions, and I don't even realize maybe that they're questions in my head. But if I'm really breaking it down into how I do it, I am considering a bunch of things. The first thing, of course, to think about is what is currently working in your planner lineup. So for me, my Big Happy Planner continues to work for me because it's so big that it leaves me plenty of room to be creative. And that's something that brings me joy. Is it working perfectly for me though? Not really, but we'll get to that. So I know that I want to keep a Big Happy Planner for my catch-all planner. The second thing that's working is my work setup. So right now I'm using daily sheets from the Happy Planner to plan out each work day. And I also use Asana online. Asana is a free project management software program that can help you schedule things and keep track of everything that's going on. It's a really useful tool, and it took me a while to learn, and I'm probably not using it to its full potential, but I am using it for planning out my videos and my sponsorships and my Patreon stuff, and it really has helped me out a great deal for my content creation this year. I have fallen off a little bit with Asana in the last couple of months, but I need to get back to basics with it. I still use it, but not enough. Those are really the only two things that are truly working for me. Now let's get into the next question. The next question is, what isn't working? And what problems do I need to solve? And what is stressing me out? Those are all kind of combined in one question. You never want your planners to stress you out. They're supposed to be helpful, and I do have a couple of things that aren't working for me that are giving me a little bit of stress, so I need to remedy that. First up, let's talk about my creative journal. So I currently use a classic Happy Planner. I love creative journaling. You might have seen some videos that I put out on that, and it just brings me joy. But this year I decided to do something a little bit different, and every week in my planner I choose a different type of layout. It might be the same layout weeks in a row, or it might be different. So I alternate between vertical, horizontal, the recovery layout, sometimes just plain bullet journal pages, sometimes vertical lined layout. Sometimes I even use guided journal pages, which has been really fun for me. I just love to switch it up. So that has worked for me in that it has brought me joy, and I've loved switching it up because I never get bored. But there's a problem with that. The problem is I'm tired of gluing pages together. So if I have a layout on one side and then I turn the page, it's that same layout. So then I have to take another kind of layout, glue it down to that page. And what's happened is sometimes I have pages sitting around waiting to go in, and I'm pulling pages from different planners, and it gets kind of confusing. I also just don't love gluing those pages down. And it's making my planner thicker because every single week I'm gluing pages together, it seems. So while I love it, it isn't working for me. So what else isn't working for me? Well, my wellness planner. You might have seen me try twice this year to start a wellness planner. You might have seen me talk about it and be really excited about it and say, this time I'm going to do it. This time it's going to be different than all those other times. And I sort of regret putting that stuff out there on the internet because then it's like everyone sees me fail. I don't know if that's maybe helpful for you. Maybe it is. Maybe I should be happy that I put that out there. But honestly, and I don't mean fail, I mean like drop off on my planner. So I did not keep up with my wellness planner. And that's a planner that I feel like I really need. And I just am someone who, if I have too many planners, it's overwhelming for me. So I've learned, that I can't do that. I can't have 8 different planners because I'm not going to keep up with them as much as I think I am. And as much as I do in the beginning, it doesn't happen. And part of that is my ADHD. Part of that is just not being disciplined enough. And that's something I want to talk about as well. So my wellness planner is not working for me because I'm not using it. Another thing that's not working in my big catch-all planner is I make a lot of lists, and I love making lists. So I have been doing this the same way for the last 5 years. I have a bunch of lines that I write on my page, and then I write in my tasks. And I don't write them on a specific day. I just write them throughout the week, and then I check them off as I go. And it kind of is working for me, but there's no place to write a master to-do list. So once in a while, what I do is do like a big brain dump. I'll put it in my planner. But I think what I need to be more productive, because I'm not being productive. I'll be the first to admit it. And I've told you this before. If you were paying attention, if you follow me, you might know, but I am a planner and I write the things down, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get them done. And this year, I think to help with my overwhelm, I really need to do more stuff. I need to get things done. And what helps me to get things done is a master to-do list. And instead of doing it once every month or two and, just shoving it in there, I think I need to work that in somehow in my weekly pages or my monthly pages. So we are going to be incorporating like more master to-do lists, probably categorized ones, to help me out and to get everything out of my brain and onto paper, because that is the goal, right? Is to get everything out so that you don't have to constantly be thinking about everything that you have to do, because that leads to overwhelm. Another thing that's currently not really working for me is I don't have a place to write down my goals. And I'll usually do like some goal pages in the beginning of the year. Sometimes they fall off and I don't pay attention to them. I need to work in goal setting into my regular planner or into my journal or into a separate planner, but I hesitate to do that because, like I said, too many planners is too much for me. So somehow I need to incorporate more goal setting into 2024 planners. And that kind of leads into time management and habit tracking, both of which I'm terrible at, and I've tried and I've tried. I even had my word of the year for 2022 was time. And it just has always been a struggle for me. Again, I hate to go back to ADHD every time, but part of it's that I'm 56 years old and my brain isn't as, you can tell by the way I'm talking, my brain isn't as sharp as it was when I was younger. So managing my time has become more difficult over the years. And especially since I started this job and now I work for myself, and managing my work hours has been really challenging for me, and also work-life balance, although I've gotten better at that. So yeah, time management is an issue and it's something that's not working for me right now. And the last thing that's not working is I am really good at decorating planners, and I love decorating my planners. But as far as productivity, and this leads back to what I was saying before, but somehow my focus has become more on creativity in my planners and less on functionality. That being said, I still use my planners, but this year I want them to be even more functional so that it can help lower my stress levels. And if I have to drop some of the creativity so that I can focus more on productivity, that's what I need to do. And that's the purpose of a planner anyway. And I get so caught up in all the pretty things, right? And all of the stickers and like the doodles and everything. And then it's like, where's the function? It is functional for me. And I have said this before, I do use it, but I don't think it's functional enough. I don't think I'm really drilling down into what's most important and figuring out how to make it work for me in the best way possible. And that's what I want to do this year. As far as deciding which planners to use, I'm going to shop my stash. In the past, I focused so much on which planners were the prettiest and which ones am I going to use because they're pretty. This year, I'm thinking about it in a different way, and I'm thinking more functionally. And also, I'm trying to save money. And I know that I am fortunate enough that I get gifted a lot of planners. And typically, every year, I actually buy planners in addition to the ones that I have here. I don't know if I did last year, but I don't have every layout anymore or every size, but I'm going to make what I have work for me. If that means pulling pages from old planners, then I'm going to do that, because I feel like I have too much stuff and it's starting to feel a little gross. Like I need to destash and I need to use what I have instead of always focusing on the next best thing. And that way it will save the planet, and also it will save me some money, because I'm starting to get concerned that I'm spending money on all these planner supplies in addition to all of the planner supplies that are given to me. And I just don't think I need to if I have planners at my disposal already. Speaking of saving money, I just want to talk to you a little bit about Mint Mobile, who I'm partnering with for today's video. Have you ever wondered why the heck you're paying so much for your wireless phone bill? Why are you paying all that money for speed, coverage, data, access to 5G, unlimited talk and text, or mobile hotspots? Well, Mint Mobile offers all these features for as low as $15 a month. I know, it sounds too good to be true, but I did try it out, and everything was the same, like compared to my other carrier. It seemed like I tried YouTube videos, I tried, going on all my apps and texting and calling, and I didn't notice any difference in speed or quality or anything like that. So I think it's a really good deal. And the reason they're able to keep costs low is because they cut out retail salespeople and stores. So why should you have to pay more than you need to for access to the same network? You can go to trymintmobile.com/bumble. That's also in the description box. You might be wondering how hard it is to switch. I found it super easy. Most phones these days have digital eSIM cards, and you can do it all online. It only took me about 15 minutes to set it up. And you can immediately activate it in your home. And you can also use your same phone number, which obviously is pretty important. Nobody wants to change their phone number these days. If for some reason your phone doesn't have an eSIM card, then Mint will ship you one for free, so there's no problem there. Big Wireless wants you to think they're the only option, but don't be duped. You can try out Mint Mobile, see if you like it. And now through January 1st, you'll receive an additional 3 months free if you purchase a 3-month plan through my link. This offer is available on all plans, including unlimited. So check them out. Let me know in the comments if you do use Mint, if you like it. You can't beat buy 3 months, get 3 months free. I mean, that's a really good deal. So you can go check them out. Again, the link's down in the description box. Thank you so much to Mint Mobile for partnering with me. Now let's get back to the video. So we have 2 questions already: what's working and what's not working. The next question is obvious, and that's what changes can I make to solve these problems? For me, my creative journal, since it's not working for me gluing all the pages together, I need to decide on one particular layout, or maybe what I need to do is create a bullet journal, creative journal, either with a notebook or with an actual bullet journal, because I find myself wanting to have that freedom, and I just think I'll be able to do more with it. So that's one thing I'm considering. As far as my wellness planner, what changes can I make with that? Well, for one, I don't think I can use a separate wellness planner because I think I'm not ready to keep up with it. I just think I know myself well, and I think that I won't. So it's too complicated. All the things I was trying to track was way too complicated. So I need to make it easier on myself and maybe include the most important things in my other planner, either my catch-all or my creative journal, and I don't know which. Maybe I could use the year-at-a-glance pages in my planner to track symptoms. Maybe I could use the monthly to track that, or something else. And I need to drill it down to what's most important to track, and then maybe incorporate it into my other planners. The problem of no place for lists in my Big Happy Planner is easily solvable. I can somehow add pages in to incorporate master to-do lists. I don't think I need a separate planner for lists, even though that's appealing to me. I would love to have a list planner, and I used to do that. but I think it makes more sense to combine it and keep it all together. And as far as no place for goal setting, that's an easy fix too. I just haven't figured it out yet. Do I need a separate goals planner? Maybe, but again, I hesitate to add another planner into my lineup that I might drop. So I'm still considering ways to incorporate goals into my planners or have it in a separate place. The next question I ask myself is, what interests me currently? What sparks curiosity in me? What can I do to freshen things up that would be exciting for me? Because if it's exciting, I will be more likely to use it. So for me, there's a few things I've been thinking a lot about this year. One is bullet journaling, like I said. Another is junk journaling. I find that really relaxing and sort of meditative and mindful. I really like junk journaling, and it will help me use up some of my stash of all this stuff I have. I'm also kind of interested in memory planning. I hesitate to have a separate memory planner because I'm worried I'm not gonna keep up with it, but I'm really interested in that. I'm interested in a reading planner because I've been reading like crazy this year. My love for reading has come back. I've read almost 50 books this year, and I plan to do even more than that next year. So I want some way to track it. And like I said, habit tracking, time tracking, those are interesting to me. And also wedding planning because I'm getting married this year. So then I ask myself, which of those interests can I incorporate into my planners for the new year? I don't want to take all of them on. I think it would be too much. But there are ways to incorporate bits and pieces of those things so that I can have a little bit of everything, I think. I could work in some hourly time management into my daily work planner. I think that would be super helpful. I could incorporate habit tracking into my catch-all planner, but I have to be careful because I can take it too far and track too many habits, as we've seen this year. But maybe I could choose only a few really important habits to start. I could use a bullet journal in place of my creative journal, like I said, and I can add in some junk journaling spreads into that when I feel like it. I could have a separate reading planner, or I could use a bullet journal to just jot down a few notes on each book I read. That would be less overwhelming, I think. And maybe a yearly tracker or a yearly tracker, I should say, because maybe I just need the yearly tracker like I did this year, but I'm considering all of that. And as far as my wedding goes, I could use a separate wedding planner. I could use that wedding planner that Happy Planner just sent to me. It is wonderful, but I'm having a micro wedding. It's very small. It's only immediate family. There'll probably only be 30 people there at the most. So I don't need all of that stuff. That kind of planning is something I did in the 90s when I was planning my first wedding, So what I could do probably is take some planning pages out of that pertain to me and work on those and put them in my regular planner, or I could just have like a notebook that I write down ideas in. I'm still trying to figure that out. Sometimes when you're trying to figure out the planners you're going to use for the year, it's helpful to consider life categories. So like sometimes I'll break down in my mind my categories from my life, like home and work, relationships, interests and hobbies, physical wellness, mental wellness, that kind of thing. And then decide which one of those categories or multiple categories do you need more work in? Do you need to track more things in? And which can you kind of just do on your own and let go and not track every part of your life? Because I need to be careful. I'm someone who gets really excited about change and about goals, and I tend to want to revamp my whole entire life at once. I have news for you. Nobody can change their entire life at once. And as appealing as that might sound, it just leads to failure. I've learned over time that me wanting to do that type of thing is the perfectionist in me. And I've learned that it's not sustainable. Sometimes I fall back into those old habits. Like last year when I took on all of the habit tracking and I was so excited about it, and I thought I am 100% going to do this all year. And I did it for a little bit. I did it for a few months, and then I stopped doing it. Life got in the way. I moved. I went to Japan. All that stuff causes other stuff to be more important than tracking your habits. So for me, I tend to get caught up in all of that. And if you're a planner, you might get caught up in it too. It is very, very attractive to me to change my entire life. And I'm going to become this totally different person. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to have great physical and mental health. I'm going to do all of these things every day because that's what I need to do to be a happier person. That helps, okay? That helps, but it doesn't lead to happiness. And sometimes it can kind of go the other way because you get so excited, and then when you don't do it, you feel like you failed, when in reality, you're just a normal person trying to get by, and maybe you took on too much. And then for me, when I feel like I failed at that, it causes me to be a little depressed and think I can't do it. And then there's the judge in my head. You know, we all have that judge. That's what my therapist is trying to work on, my judge. And then my judge is saying, you can't do it. You can't ever do it. You can't do anything. You're a failure. You're the worst. So it's basically a recipe for disaster. So my goal this year is to look at things a little more realistically and to make a few changes that I think I can keep up with. Then if I keep up with them for a few months, maybe I can add a few more things in and kind of go in that direction, because I can't take it all on at once. And January makes me feel like I can. Does anyone else feel like that? January is like, oh, I can, of course, do that. I can do all of those things. It's January. I'm going to do them all. I'm not, and probably neither are you. So I encourage you to be a little more realistic in your planning, and maybe try not to take on too much, and maybe try not to use 8-10 planners. Maybe really drill down what's most important to you or what interests you the most, and try to plan those things. And just because I feel like I need to plan more in a certain area doesn't mean that I need a separate planner for that purpose. So keep that in mind too. Another thing I want to do this year, though, is to develop more of a consistent planner routine. And I've talked about this before, and I feel like back when I made a video on planner consistency years ago, I feel like I was better at it. My life has kind of gotten out of control. I've had a lot of stuff happen and trauma, and so things have shifted. It kind of is one of the reasons why I haven't been as consistent as I'd like. I do use my planners, but I found that this year I've skipped a bunch of weeks. Like, I've skipped more weeks this year than I ever have. I also have done more back planning than I ever have. So my goal is to work on having specific time periods where I work on my planner, because right now it's just sort of all over the place, and oh, let me grab my planner. It's 2:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. Oh, let me grab my planner. It's 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. I need to adjust that and have more of a routine. So I'm trying to incorporate that into 2024. So all of this is to say that I haven't decided yet. But just going through this with you has given me a lot more ideas, and I am going to be making a planner lineup video in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. And then after that, you're going to see my setup videos. So as far as layouts go, I'm going to keep using a big vertical layout. The dashboard for my catch-all never really seemed to work for me. I love the list on the one side, but don't love the day blocks on the other side. So the vertical feels right to me. So what you might see me doing, though, is to switch up the way I plan in my vertical this year. You might see some changes with that. As far as the other planners, I just don't know layouts yet, or what I'm going to do, or how many planners I'm going to have. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep it at a minimum. So I hope this was helpful if you're someone who's still trying to figure out what you're going to do for 2024, or maybe it was interesting to see my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments if you have picked out your planners or if this was at all helpful to you. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.